How you doing, folks? Peter Laporte back again. Sykes Group Wilderness Division, and this is going to be our second film in a series of 3. Today we're going to talk about Pathfinder's knife. Pathfinder come into the knife making market with a new model called the Scorpion. I'm going to test out this little baby and see how it makes out. Stay tuned. One of the most important things to have when you're out in the wilderness, well, not even in the wilderness, just camping and general woodcraft work, you need a good knife. And there's a million different knives on the market. Pathfinder has entered into the knife making business to try to enhance what they already sell with a lot of the other woodcrafting features and designs. This knife, which is a Scandinavian cut, it has about almost an 1/8 of an inch thick blade, probably slightly a little bit more. Full tang design, riveted handle with a hole for a lanyard, so you could basically put a rope around this and hold it to your belt so if it falls out it's still hanging. Some people have a habit of, with the sheet, having it tied and hanging around the neck. That's a personal thing. I personally don't like that idea. I don't like anything around my neck where if I fall I'm going to choke myself, but hey, some people do it. A lot of the old-time woodcrafters have actually done that. They've always carried a knife around their neck as a secondary item. A word on secondary items like that is it's always good to carry more than one knife, the right tool for the right job. But for today's purposes, we're going to see how much work this knife could do. One of the most important things you do with a knife is you cut with it. You cut rope, cut your meat if you have for dinner. You might have to cut through a piece of plastic or a piece of wood, whatever the case may be. That's the reason why you need a good heavy-duty blade. A big popular thing to do with your knife is what we call whittling or making feather sticks for a fire. Basically, what a feather stick is you shave down and you get the shavings coming off. Now, as you go along, what you're trying not to do is you don't want to have all the shavings totally come off the wood. You want to keep some of it on as you can. This way it'll kind of start looking like a little bit of a Christmas tree. And that'll help start your fires when you get to it. But my purpose right now is just to show you how sharp this little baby is. This thing will take off wood and make plenty of shavings in no time flat. Now this is a pretty fresh piece of wood, as you can see. And the reason why I'm using a fresher piece of wood is that sometimes because the wood's wet, it doesn't cut as easily. It gives a better testimony to the quality and the sharpness of a knife. The best thing to have is a sharp knife. A dull knife will cause more damage than a sharp knife does. Not saying you can't get cut with it, but the knife cutting itself will leave less of a chance of a mishap where you cut yourself because your knife won't do the proper job. So, as you can see, this thing cuts pretty damn good. And we like that idea. Okay, the second thing we kind of do with our knives now is something called Batoning. And to show the quality of a good knife that it can hold up to a beating is that we try to split up wood from bigger pieces to smaller pieces to make kindling to start our fires. So how is that done? I'm going to put the sheet away for a second to get it out of the way. I'm going to take some pieces of wood just to give you an idea. Now usually you won't use a piece of wood that has a V in it because you want to get it onto a flat piece of wood to get that blade through. But I'm doing it this way because I want to see how good the knife is and see if it lives up to the expectations. So now this, cutting it to a notch in a V like this is very hard. So we're going to try it just to see what goes on. Well, the knife's definitely cutting into the wood. But we're going to use something a little heavier to pound on it. That's what I was looking for. See how nice and easy it's split right through that wood? Like I said, when you're cutting into a V in a notch like this, that's a hard knot to cut through. Most knives will not cut like that. This knife actually, very good. Cut right through it. All right, you might be saying, okay, that's a small piece of wood, easy to do. Okay, I'll give you that much. Let's see what happens with a bigger piece of wood. Now, I'll tell you the truth. This piece of wood's got to be about 3 inches thick. You usually don't baton with a small knife of maybe 4.5 inches into a 3.5 inch piece of wood because you don't have much blade area going into the wood and hanging out on the outside of the wood. But just because we're testing the knife to see if it'll hold up, I'm going to beat on it. Now this knife, you can see the blade cut right into the wood pretty easily. This piece of wood is definitely too thick to fully baton through because I don't have much of a blade sticking out on the other side. But just for the idea of the sharpness of the knife and how much it holds up to, I mean, I'm kind of beating it with a 4.5 inch piece of rock. So the knife itself, cutting into the wood isn't too much of a problem. See if I got something else around here I can probably cut on. Ah, there we go. Let's see what happens with this little baby. There you go. Cuts right through it. Okay, now that piece is a little bit older, but just the time to test the strongness of the knife, I was able to plow right through the piece of wood without a problem. Just a word on this piece also. If you guys could see the handle, it's got a little groove in the handle for holding the knife. Also, if you, for some reason, if you have to stab into something, you know, you do it. Your hand fits in here, put your thumb on the top of the knife so your hand doesn't slide down over your blade. It's a pretty strong knife. It goes pretty far in. That's a good, turn it around. It's a good 1/4 inch into the wood with this type of knife. So as an entry-level knife, small, compact, easy. Pathfinder's first attempt of making the knife. It's a very good, very well designed. This is a nice size knife to have as a knife to back up maybe a bigger knife if you're using it for hunting purposes, cutting, general around camp work, rope. Batoning, I would say use something a little bigger, but hey, this did the job. So all in all, it's a good quality knife. The sheet is good quality leather. Well made, well constructed. Put a little vegetable oil on it, it'll preserve the leather good. It'll also preserve your knife. P. Sykes, Wilderness Division. Thanks for watching.